Hello, dear parents. This is our mini video, and we are going to be talking about assessment. In this video, we're going to be talking about how teachers assess learning in remote and hybrid learning situations and how families may help. When we talk about assessment, we generally talk about two approaches: formative assessment and summative assessment. In the formative assessment, the teachers assess a process of learning. So the students work for a period of time, and through that period of time, the teachers collect information in order to be able to reach to a conclusion on how the student is doing. In the case of a summative assessment, the teachers, by the end of a unit, set a test or an exam for the learners to show how much they have learned. In the case of hybrid or remote teaching, we believe formative assessment is more suitable. Why? It respects the learner's process of learning, so as a teacher will be collecting information through a period of time, it gives a child the possibility of try again, and acquire more mastery, with the command of the language. It helps the learners focus on what they are learning instead of focusing on passing the test. And it protects the learner's agency. It protects the learner's ability to accept responsibility on what they are doing. It allows teachers to assess learners through different techniques and in different contexts. It's not one day, one test. It's through different tasks and assignments that the teacher will be getting the information she needs or he needs to reach to a conclusion. It fosters teachers' reflection and creative work to set timely challenges to each learner. Generally, formative assessment goes together with the success criteria for the learners to develop critical thinking and for them to develop awareness on how well they are doing and what is it that they need to continue working on. These success criteria are created taking into consideration the syllabi that the teachers have for their courses, and also they take into consideration the course book, right? What comes from the course book as information of the progress that should be carried on. Therefore, in the success criteria, you will have some objectives in the first column, and in the other columns, the learners will decide how well they are doing. It's important to know that teachers will be using the same criteria when assessing the learner's work. For the case of the early years, sometimes teachers use these kind of prompts, right, for the learners to say how well they're doing. And in other times, the teachers decide to use iconic writing, that is to say, writing through a series of drawings where the learners can recognize how well they're doing and they can add another icon or color or happy face next to each of the statements, right? Now, it's very important then to take into consideration that the effective use of our success criteria allows the students to evaluate their own work, gives students time to review their own work easily and stress-free because they have time and they will have another chance, and invites teachers and students to share with one another and even with the group the concerns that each may have about the student's progress. Sometimes teachers might give each student access to an expanded criteria that details new expectations and therefore opens the door to new knowledge. Here are some examples of success criteria work and formative assessment work. In this case, this handout of the 3-2-1 chart is really interesting because it gives the learner the possibility to think and reflect. For example, provide 3 things they learned during this process, 2 things they found interesting about what they learned, and what question they still have. It may be regarding language, or it may be regarding the topic they've been working with. And so learners can keep that to themselves or share it with a group as the teachers feel is suitable. The other way of assessing, in this is another example, might be having graffiti write. So the learners are invited to, through graffiti writing, express, show what they have learned. So in the case of the character description, they might be invited to write sentences regarding the character's I don't know, behavior, and the character's physical appearance, and others writing about the character's feelings. So the teacher will see what comes up, right, through the graffiti writing. Transfers the concept. That is, once the learners have understood a concept or have understood a verb tense or have understood how to describe a character, they can transfer that skill, that ability to a different context, right? And if that happens, we will see that the learner has learned. Another great thing is to see how well learners can change the information they have into a new, totally new resource or support for the showing the learning. And in this case, is inviting the learners to use art, collage or posters, right, where they can express what they have learned. Now, how may families help? Families would say should keep in touch with the teachers, right? And ask for guidance, because it's very important that you ask the teacher for guidance, mainly in the context of simultaneous in-person and virtual classroom, because the teacher should provide, thorough guidelines for parents, both the ones who are sending their kids to school or the ones who are having their children through the computer, to participate in the classroom through the computer, because there should be a dynamic that parents might know. So it's important that teachers and parents know the details of how this will be taking place. Now, please be sure that the children have all the resources and materials they need for the class. So they need the course book, they need a steady Wi-Fi connection, they need a silent place where to work, and they need available help. They don't need you sitting next to them. They need you somewhere near, available. All right. Now, give value to the different tasks the children need to complete, and if necessary, help the children document the process. Many times children don't find the way how to document what they have learned, how to document what they have discovered, how to document the different pieces of information they found. So it's important for you to be there and help them. Now, on the other hand, what happens is that with preschoolers, many times parents don't give the relevance it might have to a certain craft or artwork or just writing and drawing that the children have been doing. So I will ask you to keep the children's productions safe. Just a folder might be, or a box where you can put things in for them to take them, the children to take that home and to take them to school when they go to school, so the teacher can collect enough data to assess the process. Allow children to work in the most autonomous way possible according to the skill development, and celebrate that all learners develop in different ways through the range of learning areas and contexts. That is to say that all children master different skills at different times, and therefore we should not expect them to reach the same goal at the same time in the same way. That is why teachers will offer different contexts for learning to take place. Celebrate diversity, enjoy having your beautiful children, and see you in our next video.